I'm Claudia Parker, producer and director of 5 Minutes of Faith.
And I'm Donna Parker, the new co-host. Like most young girls, I fantasize about my future.
Well, our fantasies and our realities usually look a lot different.
Well, even if things go awry, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning.
Amen. I am just excited about the joy that I see shining through the life of our guest today, Sherri Simmons.
Yes, let's start the show so that everyone else can see.
Great idea.
5 Minutes of Faith starts now.
My name is Sherri Simmons. I am an educator, entrepreneur, author, radio show host, and mentor, and I am on 5 Minutes of Faith with Claudia Parker. I have come to accept Christ into my life because really I had no choice. I was in my first marriage. I met him when I was 16 years old. We married when I was 23 years old and stayed married for 9 years. But within that relationship, I knew who God was. I just did not have a relationship with him. During my first marriage is when I found out that I was having issues with fertility. I went to my doctor and he said, well, you have fibroids. We need to do the surgery. All right, let's get rid of the fibroids. We can have a baby. And we got rid of them. We were all set to get pregnant, but it just still wasn't happening. So my doctor suggested I go to a fertility specialist. God has a way of showing you things that you may not have been paying attention to. I had to deal with infidelity with numerous women that were inside of the church because he was a pastor and I was a first lady. And so people who had come in and out of our homes, people who we saw every Sunday, people who I passed out bulletins to because I was on the usher board, even people who were the parents of the students that I taught in my classroom ended up having relationships with him, and everyone knew about it but me. It was actually 3 days after my birthday, and he came to me and said he wanted a separation. I don't know if you've ever had that moment where you look in a mirror and don't recognize who you see. I had that moment, and right then I felt this peace come over me. I wiped my eyes, I stopped crying, and from there God stepped in and took over. Within 21 days from the day he told me he wanted a separation, I moved out. I found a condo. God allowed the money that I needed to be dropped into my account. So only thing I took from that apartment were dishes. And once I finally did get the courage to allow love to come back into my life, I told God, I said, look, if I get married again, you're gonna have to put him on my doorstep with a bow. Because I'm not going out here dating, I'm not looking for him, and that's exactly what he did. Because we both ended up going to the exact same church. We went on our first date in April. He proposed in June, and we got married in July the year after. And we've been together to be 3 years, July 1st. Now, when Vince and I got together, I was very honest with him about my issues with infertility. And he said, whatever we have to do, that's what we'll do. So I had to go through IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. Well, the issue is because my fibroids keep growing back, they're not able to get to the eggs. So I've had 2 cycles that have failed. And though that is the most heartbreaking thing ever, but I'm definitely optimistic. And my husband Vince has a daughter, she's 11. So I'm a stepmom. The best part about this whole process is that I realized that my relationship with God is so much better because I hear him more than I ever have before. Like, he can talk to me in a whisper and I catch it. And it can be from another person, it could be when I'm sitting quietly, it can be from something I'm watching on TV. He said, you might be infertile physically, but you have fertile ground spiritually. And so he said, you birth things from the ideas that you've been given. You birthed your book, You birthed your radio show, you birthed your mentoring program, you birthed your web series. So you may not have been given birth physically, but spiritually you have birthed things. So out of all of the turmoil and foolishness of the first marriage, I found my purpose. And that's for me to be transparent and tell my story so that other women won't have to suffer. And because of that, I have given birth spiritually to ideas that I never would have imagined.